This is Hayden Lerman from SHC TV. Today I'm very lucky to be joined by Stephen Newns Jr. ahead of his pro debut this Friday at the Ravenscraig Sports Facility in Glasgow, Scotland. So yeah, mate, firstly, what I wanted to start with is, how did you first get into boxing? Where did that sort of love for the sport come from? And yeah, like I say, how did you get into it?
Started getting into boxing when I was around 7, 8 years old. My dad, who was a coach at the time at Newton Hill Boxing Club, just took me along. I was just a young kid, like wondering where my dad was going at night, and he was obviously going to the boxing gym Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I just joined in with him. Managed to get a wee skills bout when I was about 9 or 10 years old, and then I had my first competition when I was 11. Boxed every year since, except from 2023 when I was transitioning to the amateur to pro. And um, but pro debut this Friday, and hoping to go all the way, get a lot of success, and have a good career to sort of look back at when I'm older.
100%, mate. So, yeah, what I want to sort of ask you is, obviously you've had a very decorated amateur career, four-time elite British champion, British champion, two Commonwealth Games with Scotland, Scottish champion. Sort of sum your amateur career up, for people that maybe haven't seen you. What sort of other accolades did you achieve? How would you sort of describe your amateur career, in sort of short summary?
Busy, active, and I was in the weight categories through the years. I was in with probably a deep weight category. A high volume of guys in at the same weight as me because I'm like the average man size. So I was most of my senior career. I was 69 kilos until the Olympic Games happened and they changed the weight category. So I moved up to 71. So, but I boxed some of the best amateurs in the world I've been in with. Medalled at a lot of multi-nation tournaments. Just missed out on a couple of medals as well. So close to medaling it in the Commonwealth Games in the Gold Coast. Lost in a split decision in the last Commonwealth Games against another Olympian who Olympian beat me in 2018. Olympian beat me in 2022. So, and I've never had a sniff at the Olympics. Um, so, I up against it, but no, giving these guys a run to their money, and as I said, like, been in with some of the top level guys, beat a lot of the top level guys as well. Um, had I think I had over 100 amateur bouts. I think it was 107. I'd need to count all that up. I don't have access to my international card. I've got my domestic card only just now. But I a busy active amateur career. Learned a lot throughout, and I'm hoping to use that pedigree and as a pro to my advantage.
100%. So then obviously, you turned over at the end of last year, and you were meant to fight in October, but unfortunately I got cancelled.
Hmm.
How was that? How easy or difficult was that decision to make?
Uh, not easy. Like I take it very seriously, and I logically um, decided to do it. It wasn't just off any emotion or any sort of influence of that. I'd done two Commonwealth Games cycles with on the national team. Done a lot of the multi-nation tournaments. I'd got to the end of my honours degree. I was in the middle of doing a master's degree. Got to sort of like January time. Spoke with the national coach, and I knew that getting into term two with my masters, it's going to be a high volume of work. I need to sacrifice a bit of boxing just now to do that. And I turned 25 in the January as well, and I thought, you know what, I've I feel like I've served my time as an amateur. There's opportunity for me as a pro. I took a few months to consider a few options. I'm finally ready to debut now after a bit of confusion in October. However, I've had a lot of great experiences, man. I've obviously been to America, a lot of folks seen. I went to Vegas, trained in the top ranked gym, got to visit the Mayweather gym, got to be around and speak to a lot of high level guys in professional boxing. Sparred a lot of pros as well in the UK. Been travelling down to Birmingham, down to Manchester, down to Hull. I've got good relations down there as well. On obviously up in Scotland as well. It's a good community in boxing up in Scotland. Everyone sort of backs each other when we go and fight away, guys. So it was. I feel like it was a decision I wouldn't look back on. I don't like. I do miss like a lot of the amateur game. especially travelling with the boys on the Scotland team, going to these tournaments and the excitement of tournament boxing where you're waiting on the draw, and if you win that fight, you're fighting the next guy who beat the other guy at the other side of the draw. It's stuff like that, and it's all like the best guys in the country. You're representing your country, and of course, obviously, being a part of the Commonwealth Games, an experience that'll live with me forever. Especially the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games, just being in Australia is so different to anywhere I've been before. I've travelled a lot of Europe and America, but Australia was so different. Loved it. And obviously having like a sort of home games, if you like, in Birmingham was great as well. Obviously I was unfortunate and I didn't get to progress in that tournament, but just being a part of it all, the build up, the atmosphere, meeting new people, it's good. It's a good thing to look back on. But as I said, as a pro, I've got opportunity. I feel like I've got a lot of potential to do well. I believe in myself, and I know deep down I can make a really good success out of this. I just need to put the work in, which I definitely will.
Definitely, mate. So then, obviously, this fight on Friday, Other Ravenscraig. How did it sort of come about, and how long have you known about it for?
I knew about this a couple of days before it was announced by St Andrews Sporting Club. They'd moved most of the boxers who were supposed to be on that bill on 3rd of May to this one. And yeah, I was happy with that because it's great that they've catered for the boxers who are still keen to compete. And Ravenscraig is very close to home. I'm familiar with Ravenscraig. I actually work for North Lanarkshire Council in the gym, so I know a lot of the staff there. As I said, I'm familiar with the building. Um, I do a lot of training in the gym there as well. Not far from home, so it means that a lot of people who are keen to follow my boxing career and support me are able to make it and come along. Because over the recent years, I've been boxing in tournaments abroad, and obviously it's not practical or feasible for people to come and watch me. They can only watch me on like a live stream. But this time they can actually be there in person and live the moment with me. And you only get one pro debut. I do expect to obviously go on and have a lot more fights and have a busy successful career. But this is a special one on Friday. Close to home. After all the sort of setbacks over the past few months, it's been the delay of getting me started. I think I'm so looking forward to this Friday. I know a lot of other people are, and yeah, I'm going to put on a performance and show everybody what they've been missing.
100%, mate. So sort of on that, what do you think? Obviously, being very near Ravenscraig, and growing up going there, what do you think that would sort of mean to you, to get the win on Friday? And where do you think you sort of want to go from there? And yeah,
It'll mean a lot. Obviously, I always want to win anyway. Whether that's any sort of like in the gym or any sort of wee competitions. But in boxing, obviously, as I said, I take that seriously. And yeah, to do that on my debut, to win in front of a home crowd, it's the first time I've actually competed in Scotland since 2019, which was the Scottish Elite Finals in Ravenscraig. Obviously, as an amateur, but now I'm doing it as a pro for the first time. It's just shows you how it all came full circle. I'm back to boxing in Lanarkshire again, being a Lanarkshire boy, and it'll mean a lot. It'll mean a lot, and I'm looking to. But I'll be a few days off after that, straight back in the gym. Hopefully, be back out again in the next few weeks. There's opportunity for me to do that, and I just keep building the wins up, and in the future, hopefully, bringing some fighting on some big shows and big platforms, fighting for titles. But for now, all focus is on Friday. I don't want to look too far in front and miss what's in front of me. One step at a time. I'm serious about this. So that's how my mindset is built up.
100%, mate. So obviously, you just mentioned a wee minute ago, obviously training in America. What did you sort of take from training in America? Obviously with some massive, massive names, really skillful fighters. What did you sort of take from that?
This like I think one of the most important things is like being in a different environment to what you're used to. How other people, sort of treat you, and just it puts you in good stead for when you go and do it when you actually compete. obviously as an amateur, I've been well travelled, different competitions and training camps all around the world in different gyms, different venues. So to do it in America, it was different again, and it's keeping putting me in good stead for adapting to any sort of environment that I will be in, if that makes sense. Obviously, I'm going to be boxing in smaller shows. I could be fighting in stadiums. It could be in dinner shows. And like big massive outdoor arenas. Who knows? I'll be ready for any sort of environment that I'm going to be put in. And at the end of the day, it's just a boxing thing anyway. But I lots of different sparring down south as well, and in America, and up here as well. Scotland's thriving at talent. I've had lots of, and actually, very recently, I've had a lot of great sparring up here for this fight coming up. I know I went down to Manchester last week to spar Nassim Hamid's son. However, most of my sparring for this camp has been up here. There's just been a lot of guys around my weight category available, and that will give me the good work. So yeah, I've made the most of that as they have as well with using me. Traveling, when you're sparring with different guys, overseas or down south, they're different style of boxing. They might set their shots up differently. They might move around the ring differently or shape up differently. So it's just about how I adapt to that and overcome that. So that's probably one of the biggest things I've taken away from my travels.
That's good to hear, mate. So, do you know anything about your opponent, obviously, because obviously it's only 2, 3 days away now. Do you know much about your opponent? And if you know much about him, what do you think you can sort of use against him in the fight?
The only things I do know is that he's from down south and he's another debutee. So it's two guys making a debut, 0-0 versus 0-0. And that is really it. Not heard anything else of him. But I won't be taking him lightly. I'll be going doing the job regardless of who it is. Um, I'm ready for anybody. I've trained really hard. I've waited a long time for this moment. I've kept myself fit in the gym, and I've kept myself mentally strong as well through the delay. So it wouldn't matter who's there. I believe anyway that any person that in my weight in boxing, I'm happy to box against when the timing is right. I know there's a process to obviously earning bigger fights in the future, and I'll let my team, my management team, my coaches, and that deal with that. However, when it comes to the effort, the work, and the belief, I've got all that. But this Friday, I'm going to need to do a job. It's a boxing match. I've had plenty of boxing matches. However, this is a pro fight, and I'm all about just getting the win. I'll adapt to whatever style he brings to the table. I've got the technical and the tactical and the physical attributes to win these fights. So I'm confident.
100%. So lastly, obviously you just mentioned a minute ago with the proper talent that we've got here in Scotland, probably the best we've seen in years, turning from amateurs, turning pros. How does that sort of feel to be one of the, front runners of that?
It's an honour if there's people like yourself and anyone else, young, especially younger guys as well, who are in boxing, look up to that and aspire to, maybe go and have a successful amateur career representing their country and then eventually turning pro off the back of that. It would be nice to set an example to these young guys and show that, having an amateur pedigree can put you in good stead. Obviously, it's a different sport, and it's not to say that being a good amateur will make you a good pro or vice versa. Because you're a good amateur, you're not going to be a good pro. It's not to say that. Skills are skills. It's just in a different code. It's how you adapt to that against obviously longer rounds, different styles of boxers, different sort of scoring that the judges and referees are looking for. So it's a nice thing. I'd like to set an example, and when I'm boxing, I do want to put on a show. I want to be entertaining. I want people to come and watch me, and show that you can do it. You can just put the work in. You don't need to come for a big fancy house or lots of money or anything. If you put the work in, regardless where you sort of come from, you can make a success. So I hope I'm not I hope I'm successful, but I hope there's a lot of youngsters to follow that, especially in Scotland.
100%, mate. So have you got anything you want to promote, say for your socials, anything like that?
Uh, just like to say a big thank you to my sponsors, the ones who have recently took on board, and ones who have been with me long term. I know that I understand that people are wondering why is it taking so long to box and what's going on, but I've had a lot of hoops to jump through. I'm through all of them now. I'm ready to box. I've kept in the gym, and I'm going to prove to everyone that um, you know how good a boxer I am. That I'm ready for professional boxing, and to show that everyone's efforts in supporting me are worth it. And also everyone who's bought a ticket off me, coming out their way, spending their hard-earned money and time to come and support me, it does really go a long way. So no, I'm blessed, and I'll make it all worth it in the long run. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody who can make it on Friday there.
100%, mate. Thanks so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, best of luck on Friday, and we'll definitely do it again sometime.
Yeah, top man. Keep in touch.